Hi dear students, today we are going to see the second part of second lesson. Today we are going to discuss about greenhouse effect. Here it is written, greenhouse effect is so named because Earth atmosphere behaves like a greenhouse roof. It lets the heat and then release the heat slowly. Actually, greenhouse is a glass house made in the cold region to grow plants. This glass house allows the temperature, heat and light to pass in, but this glass do not allow that outgoing radiation to go out, so that a sufficient amount of temperature is maintained inside the glass house. Such a glass house is known as greenhouse. Same process is repeated, or the same process is done by certain atmospheric gases and maintain a normal temperature on the earth. This phenomenon is known as greenhouse effect. The solar radiation contains different types of rays. Among them, the most important rays are gamma rays, ultraviolet radiations, thermal infrared, visible infrared, microwaves and so on, radio waves and so on. It contains 9 different types of rays. These rays or this ultraviolet radiation, these different types of electromagnetic radiations which is coming from the sun sometimes reaches on the surface and makes sufficient amount of temperature or maintains sufficient amount of temperature. Among them, the most important electromagnetic radiations which reaches on the surface and warms up the earth surface as well as the atmosphere is this thermal infrared as well as this ultraviolet radiation. See, it is given here, this ultraviolet radiation coming from the sun penetrates the thermosphere and is absorbed by the earth. The heat is absorbed and energy is radiated back to space. The incoming solar radiation or the solar rays which is coming from the sun do not have the capacity, do not have the ability to heat up the atmosphere. The earth's surface warms up and the temperature given from the surface heats the atmosphere. So we can say that atmosphere is indirectly heated. It is not directly heated, rather it is indirectly heated. And this outgoing radiation is absorbed by certain atmospheric gases and do not allow the temperature to go back. They retain some amount of radiation or temperature with themselves, and this process maintain average temperature of the earth, and this phenomenon is called as greenhouse effect. The major gases which maintain or which makes this greenhouse effect is carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide and sulfur dioxide, etc. These gases traps some of the outgoing radiation and thereby warms the earth. These gases are known as greenhouse gases. So this presence of greenhouse gases is very important for the maintaining of normal temperature of the earth. But whenever the concentration of these gases increases, the temperature goes on increasing, because this outgoing radiation which is going from the surface is absorbed by these gases. So these gases maintain normal temperature or maintain some amount of temperature, and that is why it is maintaining a normal temperature of the earth. Whenever the concentration of these gases like carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide or sulfur dioxide increases, the temperature of the atmosphere goes on increasing, and that is termed as greenhouse effect. So in this picture it is clearly indicating this incoming solar radiation is warming up the earth, whereas this outgoing radiation, some amount of outgoing radiation is controlled by certain atmospheric gases and they are maintaining normal temperature, but some amount of outgoing radiation is penetrating from the atmosphere, but a certain amount is absorbed and maintains the normal temperature. So it is clearly indicated that during daytime solar radiation reaches, and during night time this long wave radiation is moving out from the earth, but some amount is maintained and making normal temperature on the earth. And therefore, whenever the concentration of these greenhouse gases increases, it increases the average temperature of the earth, and this increase is due to, or this increase in average temperature leads to global warming. Now we have to see the causes of greenhouse effect. The main causes of greenhouse effect is due to greenhouse gases, especially carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is the largest contributor to global warming as it holds the largest share among greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. How carbon dioxide is the major agent of greenhouse effect? Because fossil fuel contains good amount of carbon, and whenever it burns it is releasing carbon dioxide. This is the major agents of increasing the average temperature of the earth. Then another important factor for making greenhouse effect or global warming is chlorofluorocarbon. This chlorofluorocarbon, which is being released from the surface, breaks up ozone or ozone layer and thus makes ultraviolet radiations to reach on the earth's surface, thereby increasing the average temperature of the earth. Then third one is using natural gas production, biomass burning, termites, landfills and coal mining. These are all producing methane. So methane is also a kind of greenhouse gas, and this also increases the average temperature of the earth. Then another important agents of greenhouse gases or greenhouse effect is nitrous oxide. Even this supersonic aircraft or again this aeroplane, which is also releasing a greater amount of different types of these gases and thereby increasing the average temperature of the earth. So in this COVID season, we can say that it is a blessing in disguise for the Earth's atmosphere. Recently, one report came that the largest hole which was happened in the ozone layer closed or filled automatically, because during this lockdown period we can understand or we know that almost all type of travel is controlled, though it is by air or through land or through rail, everything is suspended. Because of that, carbon production on the earth reduced and thereby this ozone also got cured. Moreover, we are having a normal temperature during these hot summer days. Otherwise, average temperature in this first week of May used to be very high, but due to decrease in the amount of carbon dioxide in these days, we are having moderate temperature. See, it is written here that according to the report by Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, 72% of global warming is contributed by carbon dioxide. But now, in this corona season, we can say that it is getting controlled. Now let us see global warming. We know that the average temperature of the earth is 15 degrees Celsius before industrial revolution. But in these recent days or recent years, the average temperature of the earth is reached to 17 degrees Celsius. This increase in the average temperature from that 15 degrees Celsius to 17 degrees Celsius is termed as global warming. This is made by natural phenomenon as well as man-made factors. In the previous topic, we have seen that greenhouse gases are responsible for increasing the average temperature of the earth. Here it is written that you see ozone in the upper atmosphere is major factor in making life possible on the earth. The ozone layer lies in the stratosphere between 16 to 50 kilometers from the earth's surface. This ozone controls the amount of incoming ultraviolet radiation and normally controlling the temperature of the earth. But these recent days or recent years, due to excess pollution as well as by excess releasing of chlorofluorocarbon, this ozone is at the risk. It is getting depleted, or the amount of ozone in the atmosphere is going on decreasing. Actually, this ozone is created by ultraviolet radiation. We can say that whenever this O2 is affected by ultraviolet radiation, it is breaking this O2 into single atomic oxygen. Later, whenever this single atomic oxygen mixes with diatomic oxygen, making ozone. The production of ozone is taking place in the second layer, and this is made by, we can say that, ultraviolet radiation. But whenever this chlorofluorocarbon, which is released from various aerosol cans or refrigerators or air conditioners, reaches there in that layer, or this unstable gas, whenever it reaches there in that layer, this ultraviolet radiation breaks chlorofluorocarbon into chlorine, fluorine and carbon, and these gases mixes with the atmospheric oxygen being found in that layer, thereby the production of ozone is reduced. So moreover, the thickness of ozone is getting completed or decreasing. This reduction in the thickness of ozone is known as ozone depletion, or this reduction in the ozone in that layer is termed as ozone hole. So here it is given, this layer shield us from some of the ultraviolet rays from the sun. With the passage of time, the ozone layer is becoming thin, allowing harmful ultraviolet radiation from the sun to pass through the atmosphere. No one knows for certain what is causing the ozone layer to become thinner, but we know that certain chemicals makes ozone break down and disappear. The chemicals used in aerosol sprays, refrigerators, and making plastic cartons containing harmful chemicals called chlorofluorocarbon. These all things using chlorofluorocarbon, and whenever the refrigerator in use, CFCs are safely contained. Whenever it is dismantled or thrown out, this chlorofluorocarbon is getting released, and these gases are the major agents of breaking of ozone layer. Moreover, we can say that the supersonic aircraft which is flying in that second layer also directly affecting ozone layer. Now let us see the effect of ozone depletion. As the ozone layer is destroyed or become very thin, it fails to absorb ultraviolet radiation. Then as a result, an increasing amount of ultraviolet radiation reaches the earth and causes damage to plant life, human being and marine life. And it is also causing skin cancer and a very good amount of plants which are being found there in the sea called the planktons are also being killed. And what we should do to prevent ozone depletion? First and foremost thing is to control the use of CFC. The USA banned CFC sprays many years ago. Other countries are slowly following the suit. We also have to reduce it. The next one you see, limit private vehicle driving. Now everything is controlled. Use eco-friendly household cleaning product. Then avoid using pesticide. Almost every vegetables are using good amount of pesticide. Even these pesticides are also makes many gases to reach, many toxic gases that also causes ozone depletion. Ban use of dangerous nitrous oxide. Develop stringent regulation for rocket launch. So whenever rocket is launched, a thick cloud of chlorofluorocarbon or carbon dioxide is getting released. These are also responsible for ozone depletion. With that, we are winding up for today. We will be continuing the next topics in the next class. Thank you. Have a nice day.